No one in Ober Village knew the secret behind Daniel's roasted chicken. His chicken was always big, soft, and juicy. People ate it and came back the next day. Some came back the same day. But one week, strange things started happening. His fire no longer burned. A bad, sour smell began to float from his house. When the villagers finally gathered courage to check on him, what they saw made their hearts freeze with fear. In Ober Village, everybody knew Daniel. He was the tall, strong man who sold roasted chicken near the market. From morning to evening, smoke from his iron grill filled the air. The smell of spices and firewood traveled far. People from nearby villages came with baskets just to buy his chicken. "Come and buy sweet and soft roasted chicken," Daniel shouted every day. "Good price for everyone." His chicken never finished, no matter how many people came, he always had more. Even when chicken became expensive everywhere else, Daniel's price stayed the same. People began to wonder. Some laughed and said, maybe Daniel planted money in the ground. Others whispered, this one is not normal. Maybe he is using dark powers. But hunger is stronger than fear. Even men who hated spending money bought from him. Women who planned to cook at home changed their minds once they smelled his chicken in the air. Daniel looked like a happy man. His apron was always clean. His smile was wide. When he laughed, his chest shook. People thought he had everything, money, customers, and joy. But deep inside, there was a secret no one knew. Not far from his stall, other chicken sellers began to complain. One woman, Mama Joy, felt jealous. Her own customers had stopped coming. How can one man sell so cheap and still become rich? She asked. One evening she said to some neighbors, I will find out the truth. Something is hiding in that man's life. Soon after that, Daniel bought a big house in the village. He stood in the market and thanked God for his success. People clapped for him, but inside their hearts questions grew. Then one day, something strange happened. Daniel felt a small pain in his right leg. He tied a cloth on it and continued roasting. But the pain grew worse. Sometimes flies gathered near his leg. Still, Daniel smiled and kept turning the chicken. One evening, as customers lined up, Daniel tried to stand and fetch more chicken. His leg failed him. He fell back hard. Sweat poured down his face. Daniel, are you okay? Someone asked. I am fine, Daniel said quickly. It is only the heat of the fire. The man believed him and continued eating. But that night, when Daniel removed the cloth from his leg, he saw that the wound had grown big and swollen. It was hot and beating like a drum under his skin. As he lay in the dark, his mind traveled back to Lagos, to the night his life changed forever. Before Ober Village ever knew Daniel's name, he was a thin young man living in Lagos. He worked in a spare parts shop at a busy market. From morning till night, he carried heavy engine parts, cleaned oil from his hands, and ran errands for his boss. His body worked hard, but his heart was full of anger. Every day, rich men drove past the shop in big cars. Their clothes were clean, their shoes shined. People greeted them with respect. They laughed loudly as if money loved them. Daniel often whispered to himself, why must I suffer while others enjoy life? Among all the rich men who came to the shop, one stood out. His name was Chief Benson. His gold chain shined in the sun. When he spoke, people kept quiet and listened. One day, Daniel found courage and spoke to him. Chief, please help me, Daniel said. I don't want to die a poor man, Chief. Benson looked at him for a long time. Then he smiled slowly. If your heart is strong, come and see me tonight. That night, Daniel followed Chief through dark streets to a small mud house at the edge of the city. Inside, an old man sat quietly. His name was Barber. The room smelled strange. Chief Benson pulled up his trousers and showed Daniel his leg. There was a deep open wound on it. The wound moved by itself. White worms filled it. This is my secret, Chief said calmly. This is my bank. When people eat food that carries what comes from this wound, money follows me. Daniel's body shook, but his eyes stayed on the wound. Barber spoke slowly. If you want riches, you must accept this same wound. What comes from it must be fed to living food. But remember, if you ever fail, it will eat you instead. Daniel's heart beat fast. He remembered his suffering. He remembered carrying heavy loads for small money. He remembered being poor. "I accept," he said. That night, Barbara cut Daniel's right leg. Pain like fire entered his body. Daniel screamed, but no one helped him. When it was over, something strange had entered his flesh. Before morning came, Daniel left Lagos. He traveled far and reached Ober Village. He bought chickens and built a pen. Every night, when the village was asleep, he collected from his wound and mixed it with the food of the chickens. By morning, the chickens grew fast. They became big and healthy. When he roasted them, the meat stayed soft and juicy. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into years. Daniel's business grew. Money entered his hands every day. He built his house. People respected him. But as his money grew, the wound on his leg grew worse. Back in the present, Daniel lay on his mat in pain. His right leg throbbed without rest. He could barely sleep. Still, at dawn, he forced himself back to the market. The villagers noticed something was wrong. His smile was weaker now. His steps were slower. But no one asked questions. People were busy enjoying his chicken. Then one morning, Daniel could not stand at all. The fire in his grill went cold. The market waited, but Daniel did not come. For 4 days, Daniel did not come to the market. People waited. The place where his fire always burned stayed cold. Chickens in his pen cried from hunger. A bad smell began to spread from his compound. At first, people thought he was just sick. But when the smell grew stronger, neighbors became afraid. Mama Joy was first to speak. "This smell is not normal," she said. "Something bad has happened." The villagers gathered in small groups and whispered. Some were scared, some were curious. Finally, the elders agreed that they must check Daniel's house. When they reached his door, no answer came. They pushed it open slowly. The smell rushed out like poison. Inside, the room was quiet, too quiet. They found Daniel lying on the floor, but he was no longer alive. His right leg was black and swollen. The wound had grown wide open. The floor was wet. White worms covered his body. They moved on his chest. They moved on his face. They even filled his mouth. Some people screamed and ran outside, others vomited. Strong men fell to their knees. The elders looked at each other in fear. "This is not a normal death," one of them said. They buried Daniel before sunset. For many days the market was quiet. People were afraid to eat roasted chicken. Some fell sick from fear. Some cried when they remembered how often they had bought from Daniel. But the story was not finished. One night the elders called a meeting. "We must understand what happened," they said. An old man stood up in the gathering. His voice was slow and deep. "This kind of thing does not start today," he said. "This is the work of greed and dark money." The old man explained how some people use evil wounds to make fast wealth. He explained how what is fed for profit will one day turn and feed on its owner. As the villagers listened, fear filled their hearts. Mama Joy remembered how Daniel's chicken never finished. She remembered how cheap it was. She remembered the flies around his leg. Everything became clear. Daniel had used something evil to grow his business, and in the end, that same evil had eaten him. The chickens Daniel fed were killed and buried far from the village. His house was locked. No one touched his things. For many weeks, people spoke in low voices at night. Children stopped playing near his house. Nobody joked about fast money anymore. And when people passed the market, they remembered Daniel. They remembered his laughter. They remembered his sweet chicken. And they remembered his terrible end. After Daniel's death, life slowly returned to Ober Village. The market opened again. Other chicken sellers came back to their spots. But something had changed in the hearts of the people. Before, everyone wanted fast money, everyone wanted quick success. But now, they were afraid of sudden riches. Parents warned their children. "Do not wish for money that comes too fast," they said. "It may carry a secret." Young men remembered Daniel when they felt pushed to follow evil ways. Women remembered him when they cooked for their families. His story became a lesson told at night under the moon. One evening, the elders gathered again. One of them stood and said, Daniel wanted wealth without patience. He wanted riches without clean work, and it destroyed him. Another elder added, "What you feed for profit will one day feed on you." From that day, those words stayed in the village. Greed never became sweet again. People chose slow success over fast danger. Traders worked harder with clean hands. Farmers planted with patience. Young boys learned to accept small beginnings. And Daniel's house remained empty. No one lived there again. At night, the wind passed through the broken window and made soft sounds inside. Some said it was just the wind. Others said it was a warning. But one thing stayed clear in everyone's heart. Daniel's story was not just about chicken. It was about greed, it was about choice, and it was about the price of evil money. From that day on, whenever anyone wanted quick wealth, someone would whisper softly, "Remember Daniel," and the person would pause, and think. Moral of the story: greed is a fire that never becomes full. Daniel wanted fast riches and paid with his life. Evil money always comes with a debt. What you feed for profit will one day feed on you. If this story touched your heart, please like this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Comment what you learned from Daniel's story. And subscribe for more powerful African folktales like this one. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.